Hello, my name is Megan Pike and I did my presentation on fit children. So this population is any child, and I found ranges on multiple different resources. Some said from 6 to 12 years old, some said from 6 to when the child starts puberty, but the average of what I found said from about ages 2 years old to 12 years old. And then to classify as fit, their BMI is supposed to be between the 5th and 85th percentile for that child's gender, height, and weight. So it varies as they get older as well. So it's really important to not just take their BMI as a whole, but take their BMI in relation to other children their age. So there's not a lot of risks for exercising children. The main risk for exercising children is there's just an increased risk of injury. Obviously, if the child has any special conditions or any kind of medical history that's concerning, then there are increased risks depending on that child's specific capabilities. Other risks can include if you're strength training a child, there's just risks if it's not done properly, or if you do it too much. There's risk of overtraining or overuse just within children's muscles, and they can get burnout very quickly. So it's really important to take that into account. There's a lot of benefits of exercise in children. Some of the main benefits are benefits in body composition. There's increases in muscle strength, increases in flexibility. Their coordination is going to get better. They're going to have a higher aerobic capacity, they're going to have a higher anaerobic capacity, and they're going to improve their bone mineral density. So bone mineral density is improved through proper high impact load bearing exercises. So some examples of that is like box jumping or jumping rope. Just anything that's high impact and load bearing is really beneficial. So this case study is going to be William. So he's an 8-year-old boy. He weighs 57 pounds and he is 4 feet and 2 inches tall. His BMI is 16. So when you look up the BMI for 8-year-old boys, this puts him, with his height and weight, this puts him in his 56th percentile for his age. So this is really good because you want to be between the 5th and the 85th percentile for your age group. He's white. His resting heart rate is 82 beats per minute. I thought it was really interesting that children tend to have a much higher heart rate than adults do. His resting blood pressure is 56/94, and his total cholesterol is 160. So for William, we did 3 different tests, and so his cardiovascular test was a 1-mile walk run test, which he completed in 9 minutes and 24 seconds, which is really good for somebody his age. It's not super great like for being competitive, but it's a really good ranking. For the muscular strength and endurance test, we did a push-up test, and he scored 15, which is good. This is in the 80th percentile for him. And for flexibility, we did the sit and reach test, and he scored 30 centimeters, which is also really good and in the 80th percentile for his age group. So for his cardiorespiratory exercise program, it's really important that children are doing cardiorespiratory every day. So we want him to do this daily. We want it to be, this combined with the other exercises should be at least 60 minutes. It's really beneficial if there's more than 60 minutes. So there's a lot of freedom with this. It can include a combination of various activities. It can be all one thing. So anything that involves like running, swimming, dancing, riding his bike, going to soccer practice, or just playing soccer in the yard, or even soccer game if he's on a team, basketball game or practice if he's on a team, or just playing basketball in the driveway. It's really, really important, especially for children, that whenever they're exercising, that they maintain proper hydration levels. So it's just really important to make sure that he's drinking water the entire time, that he's getting the right electrolytes. And then it's also important that children don't exercise in really hot environments. So if he lives somewhere that it's really hot, it's important to break up these 60 minutes or more into shorter exercise bouts so that he can rest and cool down in between doing the exercise, because they can get really dehydrated really fast, or they could suffer from heat exhaustion. So those are what you want to watch out for. For his muscle strength and endurance exercise program, this should be done like 3 to 5 days a week. And it's as part of the 60 minutes or more that I mentioned previously. So there's 2 types of exercise that can be done for muscular strength and endurance. You can do structured, and so structured is like lifting weights and working with a resistance band. And then you can do unstructured. So unstructured is like playground equipment. So this is like monkey bars, or just anything that involves like pulling yourself up, or moving your body weight. So climbing trees, tug of war. There's just a lot to play around with to keep him interested, to give him variation. What is important for this is if they're lifting or they're working with a resistance band, they need to be supervised, and it's very important to make sure that they're not being overtrained, and that they're not there's not overuse that is occurring with their muscles, because that can be very detrimental to them very quickly. So it's very important to make sure that they're not doing too much. But for children, they can usually do a good bit before that occurs. So there's a lot of freedom there. For children, there's also an additional thing that's really good, which is bone strengthening exercise programs. So this is to improve their bone mineral density. I kind of talked about it a little bit before. So this can be done also 3 to 5 days a week, and it can be included as part of the 60 minutes or greater. So there's some overlap in these activities, but these are those high impact load bearing exercises that I talked about previously. So this is running, jumping rope, box jumps, basketball, tennis, resistance training. This can even be as simple as playing hopscotch, just anything that's putting that high impact on their bones, and that increases their load-bearing capabilities. So that's really important. And then the flexibility exercise program for kids. You can do a lot of different stretches for children just to improve their flexibility. Kids already tend to be pretty flexible, but some of the really easy exercises to do that kids kind of find fun, which is also really important with children's exercise, is so there's child's pose, which is kneeling on the floor with your toes together. You want to keep your knees hip width apart, and then as you're breathing out, you're going to lean your torso down towards the ground and extend your arms out in front of you with your palms facing down on the floor. There's also the cat stretch, which kids really like, which is beginning by you kneel on all fours, and then with the top of your feet on the floor, you're going to tilt your hips forward and tuck your tailbone, and at the same time, you're going to bring your head towards your stomach, and then you're going to return to the starting position. Toe touches are also really good, where you stand straight up, you're going to reach your fingertips towards the sky, and then you're going to bend at your hips and reach down towards your toes while keeping your legs straight. That's the important part, because they're going to want to bend their knees, but that's going to take away a lot of what the stretch is for. There's also the butterfly stretch. So this is where you're sitting on the floor and you're going to bring the soles of your feet together where they're touching each other. And then you're going to kind of pull your feet towards your body as you push your knees towards the floor. And then as they improve over time, they can progress to bringing their nose to their toes while keeping their back straight. So that just kind of increases the difficulty of that stretch and makes it a little bit harder for them. All of these stretches can be done every day. They can be done every other day. And this can be also included as part of their 60 minutes or more of movement that they're supposed to get every day. Each stretch should be held for 15 to 30 seconds or until a tightness is felt in the muscles. They can repeat these stretches as many times as they want. There's a lot of freedom here for the kid to kind of do what they want. So these are my references for this slideshow. Thank you guys so much.